welcome to Cooking with Anna. Today we're going to make an InstantPot Italian chicken soup. So for those of you that actually know me, you know how much I love my InstantPots. I have 3 of them, so I am really fond of them. Today we're going to use chewy, and I love cooking with the InstantPot. It's super fast, it's super easy. Typically it's a 1-pot meal, which is awesome because it's super easy on cleanup. Other than that, let's get started. So what I really like about chewy is that most of the 8 quarts have the handle where you can put the lid on there. So we are going to start off with sauteing a couple tablespoons of olive oil, and I literally just eyeball that. I will let you know I did get this recipe off of Pinterest, so it is another Pinterest try. Haven't tried this one yet, so this will be my first time. Hopefully it turns out really good. The other thing that I did, because I don't like working with chicken if I can't wash my hands, is I seasoned my chicken. So the recipe does call for 8 bone-in skinless chicken thighs. I was just using what I had in my freezer. So I had 3 chicken thighs and 2 chicken breasts. So I'm like, all right, well, that's gonna work. It's gonna have to work. So I'm just gonna wait for this to heat up a little bit, and then we're gonna start off by sauteing the onions. Just toss those puppies in there. So this is an onion chopped. Saute that up and make sure I'm on the right. Yep. Okay, had to make sure I was on the right setting. All right, so if you guys end up trying this recipe, don't forget to leave some comments and let me know what you think. And then don't forget to subscribe to my channel, so that way you can check out even more recipes that come up. So like I said, this is my first time trying this one. So we're gonna saute the onions until they're lightly brown, and so that's gonna take a few minutes. Eventually you'll start hearing it sizzle. Right, there it is. Another thing that if you guys are interested and you have recipes that you want me to try, feel free to send a recipe to me, and I will be more than happy to try it out. You can send it to my Instagram handle. So that's at cooking.with.anna, A-N-A.w. And you can direct message that to me on there. You can also check out pictures of things that I've cooked recently on there. I do post a lot of the things that I've cooked on there, so you can keep up with that too. All right, there we go. What we used to call in culinary school the sound of flavor. Can't remember who said that, but I remember one of my teachers did. This onion was pretty strong too, because normally with wearing contacts, I don't cry when I chop onion, but this one was getting to me. So, you can smell it, and it's pretty strong, which means it's gonna have some good flavor. Let that go for a little bit longer. Alright, so then after that we're going to add the garlic. I believe it called for 4 cloves of garlic. I added a little more. I love garlic, so I did a little bit more. It said to mince it. I personally like using a garlic crusher, just because it's easier, it's faster, and yeah, it's just easier. Why work harder when you can work smarter? It's kind of... These are getting all softened. Alright, then the other thing we have is 3 carrots and 3 stalks of celery. That's what the recipe called for. My carrots were kind of small, so I did what I thought was like 3 carrots, and I think I had like 5 of them, but they were like little itty bitty carrots. And then same thing with my celery, so I just added a couple extra to make up for it. Plus, why not have more veggies in the soup? And it's totally soup weather now too. It's cold out. All right. That's looking really good. So now I'm going to add my garlic. We're just going to do that for a little bit, for about a minute, because we don't want to burn it. So we're just basically going to incorporate it into the onions. I kind of wish I had like a professional crew here so I can show you what the inside of the pot looks like. Alright. So next we're going to add the carrots and the celery. Like I said, you don't want to leave the garlic in there by itself with the onions for too long. You want to cool it off a little bit, because if it starts to burn, then it has a weird garlic flavor instead of a good garlic flavor. And by weird, I mean like a burnt garlic flavor. You don't want that. And I like to use my spoon to go down the sides of the bowl, so that way I don't have miscellaneous little pieces hanging out at the top of the bowl. Alright. We'll let that go for about another minute or so. I'm going to put a little bit of salt on top, and you can season to taste. I'm using pink Himalayan salt and freshly cracked black pepper. Normally when I cook, I either use pink Himalayan salt or kosher salt. With some things I will use sea salt. I just prefer the flavors, and I feel like they're a little bit healthier too. At least pink Himalayan salt. Alright. smells really good considering it's just vegetables. All right. So we're gonna let that go for just a little bit longer. While that's going, I'm gonna get my broth ready. So I'm gonna share a little trick with you guys. So I'm gonna need 5 cups of broth, and I know one of these is 4 cups. So just gonna cut the end off, so that way it pours easier. Take the little cap off and just pour from the end. And this way I don't have bubbles, I don't have splashing to make a mess. And then when we come back and I add the last 2 cups, I'll show you how to do it if you're not using the whole thing. All right. So I'm gonna use all right. So now we're gonna hit cancel. All right, I'm gonna make sure this is nice and even in here. One nice even layer. Clean off the sides a little bit. And I'm going to use my tongs. Gonna layer the chicken in there in a nice, as much of an even layer as possible. I know my chicken's kind of weirdly shaped and multiple pieces, so I'm going to try my best to get it in an even layer, just because then it'll cook a little bit better. All right. Now we're going to pour 3 cups of broth in there. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. All right, so if you guys have cooked with an InstantPot before, you know you want to have at least a cup of liquid in there in order for it to create steam, to create the pressure. So in this case, since we're making a soup, we're for sure gonna have enough liquid in there for it. All right, now we're gonna, there we go. Put the lid on, make sure our little pressure valve is on sealing. Now I'm gonna hit pressure cook, and we are gonna go up for 18 minutes. Actually, since I have the 2 bigger chicken breasts in there, I'm gonna do 20 minutes just to make sure that they get cooked, because I'm gonna have to pull them apart, and if they're not shreddable, it makes it a little bit harder. But Chewy's ready to go. He's getting all warmed up, and as soon as this beeps, we will be right back, and I'll show you what to do next. All right, thank you guys. All right, we're back. So the InstantPot went off. I started to manually depressurize, and it seems like it's almost done. In the meantime, I did get my 1 cup of chicken broth ready. There's still a little bit more in there. Got another container for the 2nd cup. I got my can of chopped tomatoes that's been drained. And then I grabbed my spinach, which the recipe does call for escarole, and I believe I'm pronouncing that properly. I've never been able to find it in the store. So it does say that a suitable substitute is spinach, baby kale, or Swiss chard, the leaves of the Swiss chard. I personally like spinach, so that's what I'm going with. And then the box of ditalini. There we go, ditalini pasta. So, sounds like the pin's about to drop. This is always the fun part, waiting for it to depressurize. Almost there. Gotta love all the little funny sounds that it makes. So it will take a couple minutes to depressurize typically. So the pin dropped, so now it's safe to open. And then when you open it, steam goes away from you because you don't want a steam burn. And then I like to twist the lid back and forth to get any excess liquid that's in there out. All right. So I'm gonna take out my chicken. Seems like everything's really nicely cooked in there. Ooh, definitely fall apart. Love that. And if you take some of the vegetables out with it, that's okay too. You're just gonna leave most of the vegetables in there. All this is gonna go back in there anyway. That's getting hot on the bottom. It smells really good. All right. So now I'm gonna hit cancel and I'm gonna hit saute. I believe that was saute, yep. All right, so I'm gonna add my last one and it's just a couple splashes in there. Just throw that in there. So for my last cut, because I'm gonna end up putting this one in the fridge afterwards, I'll show you guys my trick. So to keep it from bubbling, and you can do this with like almond milk, soy milk, whatever other items come in this container. You just put the spout on top and you pour, and that way you're not making a big old bubbly mess everywhere with all the air bubbles that need to come out of the container. Just a little tip. All right, so we're gonna bring that up to a boil. So we're gonna bring that up to a boil, then we're gonna add the pasta. While that works, I'm gonna start shredding my chicken. So you can use 2 forks. I do have this nifty little, well, not little, they look like Wolverine claws that I got from Pampered Chef that would work, but I feel like this is a little bit small for those. Those are really good for doing a big pulled pork loin. Might have to do a pulled pork loin so that way you guys can see how those work, because those are actually pretty awesome. And who doesn't like pulled pork? I mean, come on, it's pulled pork. So if you used bone-in chicken, you can now take the bones out. I'm just using the forks to shred the chicken into pieces, so it's gonna look like pulled chicken. But you just wanna make sure that they're more bite-sized and things that would fit on a spoon. I like it when it comes apart nice and easy and is tender. And then it smells really good too, so that helps. I found the carrot. All right, so while I shred this comes up to a boil. It still looks like it's working. We'll be right back. And we'll get the pasta on. Actually, let's go ahead and toss the pasta in there before we go. I'll get this going. We'll get the pasta on, and once that's done, we'll be back and we'll serve it up and show you guys what it looks like in the end, and we'll do a taste test. And let that go for just a little bit longer to come to a full boil. All right, so you can see all the stuff in there moving around. So I'm gonna go ahead and call that, oh, almost a boil. Anyway, we'll be right back. I'm gonna bring this up to a boil, pop the pasta in there, cook that for about 5 minutes. And as soon as that's done cooking, we'll be right back and I'll show you how to finish it. All right, we're back. So I put the pasta in there. I got most of my chicken shredded, still got a little piece to go. I'm gonna stir this up to make sure nothing sticks to the bottom, and we get the pasta all nice and separated. Alright, let's finish this up. I got the timer going on my watch. That is boiling away very nicely. We're gonna add the rest of the ingredients and let it go for another 5 minutes because we want to make sure that pasta is fully cooked. And like I said, I like this because it's a one-pot meal. I mean, yeah, you gotta have the bowl because and the plates and stuff for the chicken, but other than that, it's pretty much a one-pot meal. That's ready. So this container says that it's 10 cups of spinach. The recipe calls for 8. So I'm gonna use the majority of that, not quite all of it. I'm gonna eyeball it. I personally like to eyeball things. It just makes it a little easier. Okay. So we're gonna reset the timer. We're gonna add the tomatoes. And we're gonna add most of the spinach without trying to make a big old mess. Small pieces out. Seems like a lot of spinach. All right, I think I'm gonna call it there. So I gotta make sure that gets all nice and wilted. Mix in the tomatoes. And for the tomatoes, I just used petite chopped tomatoes that are in the can. You can use any kind of canned tomatoes that you like. I believe fire roasted tomatoes would taste really good in this. Yeah, you can use any kind of tomato. I just had some of the petite chopped tomatoes on hand. When I'm making dinners like this, I prefer to use stuff that I already have. It just makes it easier. Before we moved, I had a big storage of items pantry full of stuff that I ended up having to give away because we didn't want to move it. And so I really don't want to do that again. It's one of the reasons I used chicken breast for the meat. Makes it easier when you already have it. All right, so we're gonna let that go for a little bit longer. Parmesan cheese and some parsley for seasoning, for garnish. Seems more like it's going to end up like a stew than a soup because it seems kind of thick. It smells really good. To let you guys know if my daughter ends up eating it. She tends to like green things. It's so weird. Never met a toddler that liked green things. Had a salad for dinner last night and she ate most of it, so you know. I'm not complaining though. Alright, so it's got a little bit longer to go. We're gonna add the chicken back in. I want to throw the chicken back in. I want to make sure you keep stirring because it seems like the pasta noodles are wanting to stick to the bottom. Not quite a fan of that, but it should be close to getting done here. Oh, well, we have a minute. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Click the subscribe button. Let me know what you think. Go ahead and post some comments. I would love to hear what you think, especially if you tried the recipe. I definitely want to know your thoughts, and if you use something different than spinach in it, you can share your thoughts on that as well. Oh, and there we go. There's the timer. So I'm going to hit cancel. And we're going to put all this wonderful chicken back in here. And the carrot. Somehow I caught a carrot with it. So I hit cancel and I'm going to just hit keep warm. I actually have to add more broth to this. Alright, like I said, this looks more like a stew than a soup. Regardless, it's warm and it's perfect for this chilly weather. Even here in Texas, it's getting below freezing at night. Alright, so we're going to ladle up some in this soup cup. Grab some of the broth. I have some chopped parsley that I did the other day. I'll put some chopped parsley on top. And some Parmesan cheese. Just a sprinkle of that. As well, why not? Plus the recipe calls for it. All right. All right, guys, so here's the moment of truth. Let's see. That is really good. Tastes almost like a chicken noodle soup with a little bit of extras in there. That is really good. Definitely recommend making this one. I have a feeling your family will love it. So yeah, so there's that. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of Cooking with Anna. Like I said, if you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe down below. If you want me to make one of your recipes, don't hesitate to pass it along. I will post my email down below so you guys can email me. And yeah, all right. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you try this. I hope you let me know what you think. And I will see you next time. Bye.